Look at your mind for a moment. That peculiar stream of thoughts flowing through your awareness right now. The commentary that never stops, that judges everything. Even these words I'm sharing with you. Have you ever paused to wonder who exactly is doing all this talking in your head? I find it rather amusing that most of us spend our entire lives listening to this internal monologue without ever questioning its source. We simply assume, that's me thinking, and carry on. But is it really? Are you creating these thoughts? Or are they simply arising in you, like clouds forming in the sky? If you closely observe the voice, the thoughts, you might notice something odd. You cannot predict with certainty what this voice is going to say next. If you could, there would be no point in it speaking, would there? It's like reading a novel where you already know every word on every page. The act of reading would be superfluous, wouldn't it? And yet, we live with this strong sensation that this voice is me. I am thinking, we say, and so we believe, but am I truly doing the thinking? Or is thinking happening to me? We have this extraordinary assumption that because thoughts occur in your head, they must be yours like a spider spinning a web. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if you are not the thinker? If you try right now, at this moment, to think your next thought, can you predict what it will be? You can't, can you? The thought comes, but only after it has already appeared. So who is the thinker? Where does this voice, this I, truly reside? The more we look for this thinker, the more elusive it becomes. Just like trying to catch your own shadow. The more you search for this I, the more it seems to slip away. And yet, for most of us, the voice in our head is our constant companion, and we believe it to be the essence of who we are. This paradox, the speaker and the listener existing in the same mind, points to something profound about the nature of consciousness itself. Perhaps what we call me is not the doer at all, but the witness. What if our thoughts are like waves arising from the ocean of awareness, not separate from it, but expressions of it? What if, rather than creating thoughts, we are simply the awareness in which they arise? This is the beginning of the mystery of consciousness, a process unfolding, not something we control or own, a constant flow of thoughts, like waves on the ocean, flowing and receding, and we, the witnesses, are simply here to experience it. But we mistake the flow for control, and that is where the confusion begins. Because once you realize you are not the thoughts, but the awareness of those thoughts, you unlock the key to true freedom. From the moment we learn to speak, we are taught a peculiar game. We're given a name, an identity, and told, you are John or you are Mary, as if this collection of sensations, feelings, and experiences could be contained in a single word. And so begins the story we tell ourselves. I was born on such and such a date, to these parents, in this place. I went to this school. I have these likes and dislikes, these strengths and weaknesses, these successes and failures. And the voice in our head becomes the narrator of this story, constantly updating our biography, constantly reminding us who we are. I am this person. I am this way. I am someone who loves music, but can't stand math. But consider this. Who is this I that narrates our life? Who is this I that claims ownership over our thoughts, our feelings, our experiences? We say, I think, or I feel, but have you ever asked, what exactly is this I that is thinking or feeling? If you try to point to it, what can you actually point to? Your body, but your body is constantly changing. Cells die and regenerate. Your hair grows and falls. Even the face you see in the mirror is never the same from one moment to the next. Your memories, but these are slippery. Some forgotten, some distorted, some fabricated without you even realizing it. So what remains constant? Only the feeling of the sense that there is a center from which everything flows, a fixed point of reference in a constantly shifting world. But when you look more closely, even that sense of I starts to disappear. It's like trying to grasp at the wind. The harder you try to find the source of this I, the more elusive it becomes. The self that we cling to, this I we hold so dearly, is like a cloud in the sky shifting, ever changing, and ultimately insubstantial. So, if this I is not something fixed, something permanent, what is it? Is it truly who we are? Or is it just a character in a story we've learned to believe? This is the illusion we live under, the belief in a separate, independent self. We think of ourselves as distinct entities, isolated from the world around us, striving to assert our existence, to prove our worth. But this self, this ego, is not a solid thing. It's not an entity, but a process, a story, a narrative constructed through language, culture, and experience. The more we cling to it, the more we fortify it with our thoughts and actions, the more we forget the truth that we are not the I we think we are, but the awareness in which the I appears. What would happen if we let go of this? 1. What would it mean if we realized that the self we think we are is simply a mask, a character in a play, and not the true essence of who we are? This realization opens up a whole new way of seeing. We stop identifying with the voice in our head, the story it tells, and begin to realize that we are not the me it creates. We are the space, the awareness, in which that me arises and falls away. In that moment, we begin to see that the self is not a fixed point to defend and protect, but a flowing process that we can watch, appreciate, and even laugh at. And when we see through the illusion of the separate self, we can finally begin to understand that the true I is not the one telling the story, but the awareness in which the story is unfolding. Now, let's return to the voice in your head, the one that has been narrating your life, telling you who you are, what you want, and what you should fear. If you've been following along, you might have already started to notice something strange. This voice, this inner narrator, seems to appear all on its own. It is not a conscious effort, it just happens. But the more closely you observe it, the more you start to realize that you are not the one creating the thoughts. You are the one listening to them. But here's the real question: who is listening? Who is observing this voice in your head? You see, there seems to be an observer separate from the thoughts themselves, a silent witness that watches the inner dialogue without becoming consumed by it. This is the paradox. If you are aware of your thoughts, then who is the one aware? If you can watch your thoughts without being swept away by them, then who is the one doing the watching? When you look closely, you start to see that the I who is observing your thoughts is just as elusive as the I who is thinking them. The observer cannot be pinpointed, cannot be grasped. It's not something separate from the flow of consciousness. It is the consciousness itself, aware of itself. You are not the thinker, nor the thought, but the space in which they arise. Just as the sky is not the cloud passing through it, you are not the thoughts passing through your awareness. You are the awareness itself. This awareness is not a passive observer, it is active, dynamic, and alive. It is the very ground in which everything else appears. But it doesn't cling, it doesn't judge, it simply witnesses. It sees thoughts arise, émotions surface, and sensations occur, but it remains unaffected, like the surface of a lake that mirrors the clouds, but is not disturbed by them. This is the freedom of consciousness, not being swept away by every thought, not being pulled in by every emotional current, but simply witnessing the ebb and flow of life with calm detachment. The more you begin to recognize this witnessing presence within you, the more you see that you are not your thoughts, your emotions, or even your experiences. You are the awareness that observes them, and this awareness has no attachment to any of them. It is not interested in controlling the flow of thoughts, nor does it fear the storm of emotions. It simply watches with deep, unshakable peace. And the more you rest in this awareness, the less you feel the need to control the world around you, to shape it according to your desires. This is not a retreat from life, but a deeper engagement with it, because when you stop identifying with the voice in your head, you free yourself from its endless chatter. You step out of the story it tells and into the present moment, where life is unfolding in all its beauty. You begin to see that you are not the thoughts, nor the observer of the thoughts. You are the space in which everything happens, the canvas, not the painting. And once you realize that, everything changes. The voice in your head may still speak, but it no longer has the power to define you. It no longer has the power to pull you into anxiety or self-doubt. You are the awareness that watches it, and that awareness is free. Now, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Life, we often believe, is something we must control, an unfolding series of events that we need to steer, manage, and manipulate to our liking. We are taught to hustle, to grind, to make things happen, as if life were a machine we need to fix. But what if life isn't a problem to be solved, but a dance to be lived? Imagine, for a moment, that life is a dance, a cosmic rhythm. The music is always playing, the tempo is always moving, and we are the dancers. But here's the paradox: the more we try to control the rhythm, to dictate the steps, the more we trip over ourselves. When we stop resisting the flow of life, when we stop forcing it into a shape, we understand, we realize that we're not the ones leading the dance. We are simply part of it. The universe doesn't need our constant direction. It's already moving like a river flowing toward the sea, like the sun rising without our help, like the seasons changing without needing a plan. The beauty of this dance is not in forcing things to happen, but in aligning ourselves with the flow of life, with the current that is already in motion. What if, instead of fighting against life's uncertainties, we leaned into them? What if, instead of fearing the unknown, we trusted that the universe has a rhythm, a pulse that is working in our favor, even when we cannot see it? When you stop fighting against life's flow, you stop creating resistance. Life's energy no longer feels like something to be conquered, but something to move with. Think of the river again. It doesn't question its path. It simply flows. The river may encounter obstacles, boulders, fallen branches, sharp turns, but it doesn't struggle. It moves around them, over them, and through them, and in the process, it carves mountains, shape landscape, nourishes everything in its way. It doesn't push harder. It doesn't force the rocks to move. It simply flows naturally, and in doing so, transforms the world around it. Now imagine your life as that river. The obstacles may seem overwhelming at times, conflicts at work, relationship issues, uncertainties about the future. But instead of fighting against these challenges, what if you allowed yourself to flow through them? Instead of trying to control every outcome, you simply trusted that, like the river, you too will find your way. You may not know exactly where you're headed, but the flow of life will carry you exactly where you need to go. This is the wisdom of surrender, not giving up, not passive resignation, but a deep trust that life is unfolding as it should. It's a recognition that you are not separate from the universe, that you are part of it, a wave on the ocean. You do not need to wrestle with the tide to be carried by it. You simply need to let go of the illusion that you are not already exactly where you need to be. And the more you embrace this flow, the less effort you need to put into controlling it. When you stop trying to push the river begins to carry you. The more you trust, the more life starts to feel effortless. The dance isn't something you need to perfect. It's something you need to participate in. When you stop trying to lead, you realize that you're already part of something far bigger than yourself. You are not separate from the dance. You are the dance. And so, the question is no longer, how do I control life? The question becomes, how do I move with it? How do I let go of the need for certainty and allow the universe to unfold, knowing that I'm a part of it all? How do I trust that every misstep, every challenge, every unexpected twist is simply part of the choreography, not a mistake, but an invitation to dance even more fully? Because in the end, life's rhythm doesn't ask you to control it. It asks you to dance with it, to move in time with its flow, to become the rhythm itself. And when you do, you stop resisting, you stop fighting, you stop striving. And in that surrender, you find something extraordinary, the grace of simply being exactly where you are, with everything that is. We've looked at the dance of life, the rhythm that moves through us, around us, and with us. But there's something deeper to consider now, the moment itself. You see, we spend much of our lives chasing something: happiness, success, love, peace, all the while believing that we need to get somewhere before we can truly feel those things. We chase the future as if it holds the answers to our fulfillment. We tell ourselves, once I reach this goal, then I will be happy. Or, once I have this, then I will feel whole. But what if the very thing we're chasing is already here, in this moment, not somewhere in the future? What if the moment we're living right now is not a stepping stone to something greater, but the very ground of our being, the point of arrival, already perfect in its imperfection? This is the profound truth of surrender. Not surrender in the sense of giving up or passively accepting a life of chaos, but surrender as a quiet recognition that you are not separate from the flow of life. You do not need to control it or force it into a mold. You need only to trust it. Trust that life is unfolding exactly as it is meant to, with or without your interference. When you stop demanding that life bend to your will, you begin to see that life was never working against you. It was simply waiting for you to recognize its flow, its rhythm, and align with it. Every time we insist that life should look a certain way, we create friction, resistance, and suffering. But when we let go, when we stop trying to shape every detail, life begins to meet us where we are, effortlessly. The more we stop struggling, the more we realize that life is not something to be conquered, but something to be received. Think of the act of breathing. You don't control it. You don't think about it. It simply happens. And when you stop trying to manage it, you realize how naturally it flows. The air moves in, moves out, without effort. Your heart beats. Your body functions, all without your conscious intervention. In the same way, life is always flowing through you. Your desire, your plans, your expectations, they all rise up from this flow, and yet they are not separate from it. The key is not to fight it, but to align with it. Surrendering to the moment doesn't mean you stop taking action. It means you stop acting out of desperation or fear. You act because you are aligned with the rhythm of life, not because you need to force something into existence. When you trust the process, when you stop chasing, you make space for what is truly yours to come to you. The very moment you stop running toward the future begins to reveal itself to you in a way that feels effortless. And this is where the magic happens. When you let go of the need for control, you open up to the present moment in all its fullness. The moment becomes a sacred space where everything unfolds perfectly in its time. You no longer wait for the right moment, because you realize that this moment is the only moment there is. And it is already enough. It's like a child who stops trying to perform for approval and instead simply plays for the joy of playing. There is no rush, no goal, to reach just the pure expression of being, and in this expression, the world responds. The universe meets you in the dance, not because you've forced it, but because you've surrendered to it. You stop waiting for permission to be happy, to be whole, to be loved. You realize that everything you need is already here. In this very moment, this is the true power of surrender, the recognition that you are already whole, that you are already exactly where you need to be. The very act of being present to life, as it is, opens up a world of possibilities. You no longer need to chase after what you desire. You begin to live as though it's already yours. And when you do, life mirrors that belief back to you. Not because you've earned it, but because you've stopped needing to. You've stopped forcing. You've stopped grasping. You've simply allowed life to unfold. And in that allowance, everything aligns perfectly. So, the question is not, what do I need to do to get what I want? The question is, what happens when I stop chasing, stop struggling, and allow this moment to be exactly as it is? Because in that moment, you will discover something extraordinary. You will discover that everything you've ever wanted has been here all along, waiting for you to see it. The key to unlocking the mysteries of consciousness lies not in the past, not in the future, but in the present moment. In our daily lives, we are so often caught up in the hustle, the striving to get somewhere, to achieve something, to become someone else. The narrative of "I'll be happy when," or "I'll feel complete when," holds us captive. But what if that feeling of lack, the belief that something is missing, is the greatest illusion of all? Consider this. The moment we're living in, right now, is all we ever truly have, not the future, not the past, just the eternal present. And yet, how many of us truly live here? How often do we skip over the present, racing toward a future that always seems just out of reach? The future is nothing more than a projection of the mind, a distant dream, shaped by desire, fear, and expectation. But the present is the reality, the only truth we can touch, feel, and experience. When you stop living in anticipation, when you stop projecting your happiness onto the next event, the next goal, the next moment, you begin to realize something extraordinary. The world around you begins to glow with a new intensity. The simple act of breathing becomes miraculous. The sound of birds outside your window, the warmth of the sunlight on your skin, of the touch of a hand, these are the things that make up life. And when you fully embrace the present, you start to see that there is no need for anything more. This is the paradox of living fully. We believe that in order to feel complete, we need something more. But true completeness lies in simply being here, now. When you stop striving, stop pushing, stop trying to get somewhere else, you begin to experience a deep, unshakable peace. It's the peace that comes from knowing that everything is already unfolding exactly as it should, that everything you need, you already have, that the answer you've been searching for is not somewhere out there, but within you, in the silence between your thoughts. And here's where the freedom lies, the freedom to simply be, the freedom to let go of the chase, the struggle, the need to control everything. Because when you stop trying to control, you allow life to take its natural course, you begin to move with the current of existence, not against it. You become the river, flowing effortlessly, instead of fighting against the rocks. This is not to say that challenges will cease or that pain will never arise. Life is full of ups and downs, twists and turns, just as a river is full of rapids and calm stretches. But when you live in the present, when you recognize the impermanence of all things, you stop clinging to them. You let go. You trust that whatever comes, you will handle it with grace. You know that life will carry you where you need to go. And all you have to do is be present to the journey. trusting that everything, even the detours, is part of the path. In this state of presence, you are free from the tyranny of time. The past no longer holds you in its grip, and the future no longer casts a shadow over your peace. You are simply here, now, and in that moment, you are whole. There is no need to prove anything, to chase anything, or to fear anything. Life is not something to be conquered, it is something to be experienced, savored, and embraced. So, when you feel the pull of anxiety or overthinking, when the mind tries to race ahead or look back, pause, breathe, return to the present. Let go of the need for control, and in that moment of surrender, you will find the truth. You have everything you need. Right here, right now, you are already whole. You are already free.